mate. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Thursday night episode of Software Explorations. Tonight is Thursday, April 11th, 2024. Shout out to 2024. We are cruising by this year. How are we all doing today? Can you hear me okay? I am trying out some new software, some new tools. It's crazy. And I don't even have all my sounds ready yet, but we're here. Can you hear me okay? Greg in the chat. Gregory, what's up? What's going on? Happy to have you here. Gregory says, pump up the volume. Well, let me know. Can you hear me okay? How is the sound? How is the picture quality? How is the stream? Just let me know. If you do not know who I am your host of the show and of the channel. I am Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. So tonight we are going to get into API testing, right? Last week we talked about, how do you start getting familiar with APIs, things like that. Tonight, we're going to get into API testing, some details, some tools that you can use. I found something. I haven't even tried this yet. So we're going to try this out together, see if it works, if we can get it set up. You've seen some major catastrophes that we've had in the past, but we shall see. We shall see. All right. So let's get into our agenda really, really quickly. So, like I said, there's going to be some things that I'm going to need to figure out. But we're going to do what we do. All right. We're going to do what we do. So, all right. So this is my first time streaming on the software. And now this thing is in front of my face. All right. So let's do this. So let's get into our agenda. Let's get into our agenda. So first and foremost, thank you to all of the latest, all the newest subscribers, as well as those who have been here for a while. You guys are absolutely awesome. I really, really appreciate you all. And guess what? I don't even know where my appreciate sound is. Jesus. Let's see. Can we find it? Let's do it. We'll do it like this way, right? DJ. Let's see. I don't even know. You see, I have to fix this soundboard. I'm not even using the iPad that I used to use. I don't know where it is. Let's see. We'll go with this one for now.
We the best.
Yes, we are the best because we put in the work. We are out here to win. So, Mitch says that he is a new subscriber. Let's see. Well, goodbye, Facebook. Let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. So we are on YouTube. So, trying different things. We are here. We are winning. So I'll eventually find this. I'm going to get my life together with this new software. So far, I'm liking it. All right. So agenda goes like this. So shout out to the new subscribers. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Salute to my tech barbarians who they're putting in the work. Special Tech Barbarian, two of them actually, but Special Tech Barbarian showed me a document they came up with on how to go through the process of setting up their testing environment, the Docker, all that good stuff. And I was like, I was taken aback. I was kind of breathless. I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. So we are winning. We are on the right path. So just continue to do the work that you're doing. So let's get into our live show schedule. So we have on Mondays and Wednesdays, between 7:15 7:45 a.m., we get started on our coffee and kata, where we are doing we review some news stories, and then we get to work on our mobile app development. We are working through Flutter to build our time cost calculator, and we are making great progress on it. I'm gonna see if it's not gonna happen this weekend. I was gonna see if I can go do some more work on it, but it's probably not going to be this weekend because it's going to be a super busy weekend. We even have Scrum Night on Sunday, so it's going to be really busy. And we're still going live on Sunday afternoon as well. But maybe next weekend, we shall see. Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. We are working through Terraform. We did some amazing stuff with Terraform this past Sunday, setting up the Elastic container service, all that good stuff. Tuesday nights Q&A. We had an amazing Q&A night this past Tuesday. Even was talking about on the live stream, I started editing. I created a Vim file to say how much Mitch loves my Miami Heat hats, and I talked about how my wife couldn't care less about it. Right? So it was a great fun stream. And then Thursday nights tonight we have software explorations. We are working through API testing. That's been our focus. And like I said, this past Tuesday, next up, after we're done with API testing, we are going to be getting into BDD, behavior-driven development, Gherkins, Cucumber, Behave, all that good stuff, how to get it set up, and why it's important. All right. So that is our live show. Real quick, one more time. The morning shows, Mondays and Wednesdays, we get started between 7:15 a.m. and 7:45 a.m. Sunday afternoons, software explorations, working through Terraform. Tuesday nights, Q&A. Thursday nights, software explorations, we are working through API testing. All right. Next up, we have our pre-recorded content. Mondays, we have candid conversation. We had an amazing candid conversation this past Monday, celebrating your victories. And every time you guys come with a victory, I will celebrate you. I will stop the show and I'll celebrate you, because we have to continue to celebrate our victories. And that's how we're going to continue to grow. Every victory matters. All right. Wednesdays, software explorations. That was yesterday. We dropped a concept and overview about how to get good, how to make it easy to get into API testing. And we're going to further that tonight on our live stream. And then Fridays, we have the Bug Bite, where we review different things that happen in the tech industry, how they affect us, how they affect the companies, how they affect the customers, things like that. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, should social media platforms be held liable for the content that their content creators put on their platform? Should they be allowed to be sued because of that? And what people might do based on the content that someone else put on their platform, right? So that's going to be what we're going to be talking about tomorrow on the Bug Bite. And then throughout the week, we have shorts as well as clips from our Q&A live show. We clip them up, and we make them available to you, so you can have them in bite-sized, digestible pieces, all right? So that is the plan, hopefully, and I'm sure that there is something for everyone to plug into, all right? All right. So before we go on, my goodness, we have him on.
Good guy.
We have Good Guy in the building. Good Guy says, sounds great. Thank you so much, Good Guy, for the sound check. Like I was telling Good Guy yesterday, I think. I'm going to be upgrading some equipment, some software, and here we are. Hopefully it looks good. Hopefully it sounds good. You guys let me know if anything changes. Hopefully that we don't have to the buffering. I don't know. I'm just trying to give a better experience overall. All right. And we have in the building. Hold on. Still trying to figure out this software. All right. We got that. And we got Mitch in the building. He says, I'm a new subscriber. How in the world are you a new subscriber and you have a wrench right next to your name? See these? But yeah, welcome to the show, Mitch. Always appreciate you being here. All right, let's get to it. All right, so like I said, what we're going to be doing today, we are going to be looking into API testing, exploring the different tools that so last week we looked at Insomnia, we looked at Postman, we looked at Rapid API. But now I want to say, okay, how can we get how can we test this locally on our computer? Because we also want to be able to send requests as well as like make posts, make gets, things like that. And when you're using the Rapid API, it might not always be that easy. You know what I mean? So we're going to investigate. I found a GitHub repo where they should make that available for us to do. So we're going to try that out. All right. We are going to try that out. All right. So let's get to it. And see this 20-minute thing. I don't even know how to take it down yet. So like I said, we are trying to figure this out together. Let's see. I really don't know. Okay, there we go. I think it's here. So let me get rid of this 20. And we are going to, I will put a 20-minute on the other screen. I'm trying to find out how to get it to go across, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. So let's swoop over to the other screen. We're going to go actually, let me try one thing real quick. Let me see one thing before we go any further, because this thing is going to drive me crazy if I do that. Let me see. All right, we shall see what happens. We are building it as we fly. What's going on here? X now. Okay, goodbye, X. We are, sometimes you can only rely on YouTube. So let's do this. So what I'm going to do, I am going to go to the other screen, and we are going to start reading this about this JSON server that I found, and let's see, because I haven't tried it yet. We're gonna see if we can put it to use. All right, we're gonna see if we can put it to use. So let's go here. Hopefully this works. Boom. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. And I am going to edit this right here. Let's go for, we're gonna put our first 20 minutes. Save, and let's get it started. Move this over a bit. You guys are seeing me figure it out on the spot. All right, cool. So let's get going. We're going to start our timer, and we're going to say,
Let's go already.
That's not the one I was looking for, but it'll work. Okay, cool. So this is called JSON server. So this is what I was doing. I was looking for something that I could run locally in an API where I can just start sending requests to it, see what I get back. And I came across this one. I haven't tried it yet, so I wanted to try it together. Right? We're gonna try it together, see what we can do. If we can get something quickly running. It says get a full fake REST API with zero coding in less than 30 seconds. Seriously. They said seriously. Right? Created with love for front-end developers who need a quick backend for prototyping and mocking. So, and I think it would be useful to people who are learning QA, interested in learning how to do API testing. That way we can get this started up and we can see what happens. All right. So, like I said, this is going to be new to me as well. We're gonna figure it out. But before we go into that, right? Before we go into that, we should talk about some different things about like API testing. All right. Why is this thing right here? Let me see. Don't want to click that. All right. Let's move this over here for now. I don't know. This thing is like right in front of me. So, anyways, all right. So about API testing. So before we get into like this, trying to get this thing to work, I want to talk about like just in general API testing, right? So we spoke about the tools, and now once you have the tools, the next thing is, all right, we need to build some experience with these, like with the tools, with the concepts of API testing, with actual API testing, sending requests, like. Because even if you have a working API, you can actually come up with the strategies, the test plan to test it. And if everything works, great. But if you might find something that doesn't work, who knows, right? And that's why like it's helpful to have something running locally. One thing that I'm doing with my tech barbarians, we are actually in the process of implementing the API for the Poopy Pants Quotes app, right? And that with the Poopy Pants Quotes app, which you also see it circulating through the chat, but it is a David Goggins quotes generator based off the quote that David Goggins said about when he had poopy pants, he had to go out there and get it anyways, right? You can't But what we're doing now is, because the way that I had set it up, it was converting a Google Sheets doc into a JSON, and then it was using that to pull the APIs. But that's not the most efficient way. We can't rely on a Google Doc. So what we're doing is we're building out the API, and that way I'm serving as a developer. I'm learning more about building APIs with Node, Express, all those tools. And the most important part though is my tech barbarians get to actually implement the testing on an API, as well as on MongoDB, as well on a Node front end website, all that stuff. So they get the whole shebang, right? So now when it comes to API testing, so one of the things that we have to do is we have to come up with a schema. How should the database be? How should it accept data? So in a SQL world, in the database, it's going to define the schema that of like how many characters it can accept, if it's a string, things like that. However, when you're using NoSQL with MongoDB, for instance, you don't define the schema inside of the database. So what we had to do was define the schema using Mongoose, which is a package for Node, right? So we defined that, and guess what? Guess what? My tech barbarian actually found a bug. Her first week, she's like, "Hey, should this be like this?" And I'm like, it shouldn't. And I'm like, so created a defect report. I said, "Hey, create a subtask and assign it to me so I can actually fix it." And then I was working on it between yesterday and this morning. And I said, "Hey, it should be working now. Go ahead and retest." And boom, right? So look at that right there. Never had API testing experience. Never had Docker experience. So in the course of a week to 2 weeks, set up Node, set up Git, set up Docker, set up NPM, set up Postman, started cloned the repository, set up the MongoDB container, started the Node project, access it locally, and then used the API to add new quotes to the database to be able to and connect directly to the database to see if the data is getting in there and it's matching the format, and found an issue that we worked on, right? So all within, like, never did any of this before, right? But in the course of about 2 weeks, thrown into the fire, thrown into the lion's den. And now 100 times further than they were 2 weeks ago. So that's what we're trying to do with this, right? I'm not gonna be able to work with you on a one-on-one basis, but hopefully I can get you started with it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, what we're gonna look into is, anyways, figure that out later. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to look into this. So what we'll do is we'll try to get this set up. And then as we are going through this, if we get it set up as we're going through this, we can see, okay, what are the different testing strategies? And I would love to hear from you as well. What are your thoughts on the testing strategies as well? Oh, both decided to show up to work today. Okay, I see. So let's see, anything. And Gregory asked, is this person from your tech barbarian group? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They are one of my tech barbarians. Shout out to my tech barbarians. Putting in the work. Yeah. So yeah, they are definitely one of the tech barbarians. So, and I'll read the rest of the comments after we are done with the after when we go to break, right? When we go to break. So let's get started with this. So it says, so get a full fake REST API with zero coding in less than 30 seconds. So let's go through this. Let's see. No, try JSON server alpha here. JSON placeholder live running version. I don't want to use the live running version. I want to set it up locally. My JSON server. No installation required. Use your own data. All right, so let's go into getting started. Should have some instructions here. So what we're going to need to do is npm install g. So okay, first we're going to have to clone this repo. So let's go ahead and clone the repo. Hopefully this works. It should, because it was updated 2 months ago, so this should still work. Let's go and let's copy this. So if you're not familiar with Git yet, you need to. Like, what are you waiting for? Why am I? Okay, so let me see something real quick. Can I? Wanted to. Figure it out later. I wanted to flip the camera to the other side, but it is what it is. So let's go to, got this. All right, let me open up a terminal window. The terminal window is what I used last time to do the Vim. Zoom in a bit. So I am going to go to, this should be cd webstorm projects, and we're going to do git clone, and then the, oh God, that's not what I wanted. Let's just do this. Clear git clone, and let's go here. Thought I did copy. All right, so here, and now we're going to do paste the URL to the Git repository. And it should be downloading it. All right, there we go. Okay, 14 megs, not too bad. So now we're going to go into the folder cd JSON server, right? And now we're going to, we can just go here. Let's go back down over here. Let's go to the getting started. Go back to the getting started. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to do npm install-g JSON server. And this is the version that we're installing. See if that works. Let's go on the other side for this screen. All right, let me move this to the other side. Hold on. We're just gonna do it right here on the spot. Let's go right here. Oops. And we're gonna take this one and we're going to move that like that. All right, cool. There we go. So now I can actually, when I'm looking at it, looks like I'm actually looking at it, right? So now we're gonna say, and I'll fix this more later, but okay, let's get to our next step. Yarn. So install. So we already have this installed. Now it says create a DB with some file. Okay. A db.json file with some file, and we're gonna go here. Let's just copy this exactly as it is, and let's go to our terminal, and we're going to do. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to do Vim again, and now we actually have a Vim to use. See, look at that. We're using Vim, and it doesn't really matter what your wife thinks about Vim, all right? It doesn't matter what your wife thinks about Vim. So let's take this actually to... Perfect. All right, so we are going to do Vim db.json, and we're going to do I for insert, like I said the other day, and we're going to just paste that in there. Escape, :WQ, write and quit. Boom. Now we're going to do JSON-server watch db.json. And let's see what happens. Moment of truth. I don't have the drum roll sound yet, but do I have it? Let me see. My sounds are all over the place right now. So just think of the drum roll sound, all right? Think of the drum roll sound, okay? So we're gonna go to enter now and see what happens. Okay, so now we've started. Now if you go to HTTP localhost 3000 post/1, you get, let's try this. Well, looky here. Looky here. We have a local API running. We have a local API running. How you like them apples? So if we were to go into now, let's go to Postman. Pull up Postman. We do post 1, enter. Oh, this has to be a get. Enter. Look at that. Looky here. See that? So we have our server running. We can start testing APIs. All right, very basic, but we have something up and running. All right, so now, let's go to, so let's keep reading the documentation, right? So also when doing requests, it's good to know that if you make a post, put, patch, or delete, right? So what post, put, patch, delete? We went over what each of those were in last week's introduction to APIs. If you haven't seen that, you don't know what these things are, very, very important that you go and you look up what the post does, what the put does, what the patch does, what the delete does, what the get does. The ones that you'll be using the most out of everything is the get and the post, maybe the put, right? But the post and the get, 100% of the time. And then, like, sometimes you need to update data, and that's when the put is going to come into place. So if you're not familiar with that, I highly, highly recommend that you do. You go back and you watch the video. And even if you did watch it and you don't remember, still go back and watch it again, all right? It's going to be very, very, very helpful. Okay, so now let's keep going. Your request body, so if you make changes will be automatically and safely saved to the db.json using loadb. I don't even know what loadb is, but it sounds absolutely amazing. All right, so if your request body JSON should be enclosed, should be object enclosed, just like the get output. For example, name foobar. ID values are not mutable. Any ID value in the body of your put or patch request will be ignored. Only a value set in a post request will be respected, but only if it is not already taken. So that's pretty much saying that IDs have to be unique. So if you pass an ID in the post, it'll take it unless it's already being used, right? And I believe that if that was the case, it should give you an error. But that depends on how you design your API and your database. Okay. A post, put, or patch request should include a content type of application/JSON. So we spoke about content type last week as well. Header to use the JSON in the request body. Otherwise, it will return a 2xx status code without changes being made to the data. All right. So whenever you send one of these methods in the request, it has to include the content type application/JSON. Routes. What are the routes? So based on the previous db.json file, here are the default routes. You can also add other routes using --routes. What do I mean by --routes? I don't know. That's it. So we'll have to look into this because like although like and guess what? We can always tear this down, create a new db.json file and start it up again. But this is the basic one. So let's take a look at that db.json file. So db.json posts, and so this is a post endpoint, and it comes with you put one in there. This is the comments endpoint. You put one in there. This is the profile. You put one in there. But you can customize it to whatever you want. And this is what they mean by a way for front end people to quickly get up and running while the back end. So let's say the back end team, they didn't build it yet, but they gave you the contract. You can easily go and put in this like schema into this contract over here, or into this db.json, and now you'd have an API to interact with, so you can build around you can build your front end around the expectations of the back end. All right. So let's keep reading. So routes, we read that based on the db.json. I'm not too sure what this means yet, but we'll find out. Plural routes. So the routes are plural. Post one, post, put, okay, singular routes, profile, okay, and use dot to access deep properties, get, post, and title equals JSON. So it's pretty much like you can filter and search. Author dot name to search by the name of a field. Paginate, you can paginate. So all these are amazing ideas for APIs that would probably be implemented, which guess what? I'm going to take these ideas into consideration as well. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Okay. And let's see, what else we got? So sort, multiple slice, start, operators, all that good stuff. So what we're going to do, this is what we do, right? Because we're at break time. But what we'll do is we're just going to use this, right? We're just going to use this. We can probably see if there's some type of schema that we can get generated to like do more custom stuff. But for at least for this show, at least for this stream, we're going to use this, and then we're going to come up with some testing ideas, some testing strategies. One thing that I see that might be a hindrance to this is that I don't know if there is any type, like, well, not that I don't know, there probably isn't really any much validation on there. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do. But it's gonna be a great intro and learning experience regardless. All right, regardless. So with that being said, let's go on ahead to break. All right. So that's our first segment of the night. I'm getting used to this new software. It is a little weird for me, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I appreciate you all for being here. I appreciate you guys for bearing with me, okay? There we go. All right. So let's see. Let's go and let's interact with the chat. Let me put up a 5-minute timer. And let's do it this way. All right, let's start our timer. Okay, cool. So let's go to the chat and let me see what we got. Let me see what we got in the chat. And before we do that, if you haven't done so already, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live or drop new content. And if you need one-on-one coaching from me, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev where you can sign up for a coaching plan or just get access to exclusive content. One of the videos that I'm going to be making very soon is how to properly use your calendar. How to properly use your calendar, all right? So that's what we're going to be getting into. So let's see what we got. All right, let's go through the chat. Let me see. I got to figure out how to use this chat a little bit better than the other one. But Greg says, they keep asking for API testing and many requirements. API testing is a must nowadays, all right? There's no way around it. If you don't know how to do API testing, you're like everything revolves around API testing. The world runs off APIs nowadays. So if you're not familiar with API testing, I highly recommend follow this stream, take an API testing course, join the Tech Barbarians, whatever the case may be. I'll tell you now. If you ask my Tech Barbarian how they felt 3 weeks ago, they felt confident. Like, oh yeah, I'm killing this. My boot camp is going well. My school is going well. I'm learning this. Yada. Ask them about a week and a half ago. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. This makes absolutely no sense to me. You ask them today, I know a little bit more of what I'm doing, building confidence, but we out here. We are out here, all right? So that's what I have to say to that. What else do we got? All right, let's see. The group sounds fire. The group sounds real fire. So guess what? Let me see. Guess what? It is all based on your level of effort. I make everything available from my time. The most precious asset that I have is my time, and I make that available to you as well as all these additional ways to learn and tools. So if you it's up to you to make the most of it. All right, it's up to you to make the most of it, but I make it available to you. All right, and I look forward to joining when it's time. Hey, whenever you're ready, whenever you are ready. All right, let's see what else we got. Mitch, thank you. See, that's what. Shout out to you, Mitch. You are the best. You the best. I gotta find my drum roll. Like I tell you, I feel a little bit out of place, but it is not as bad as that other time I tried to go live with the other software, and that was an absolute nightmare. I feel confident. I feel comfortable with this, right? I'm still like not in my perfect element, but I will get used to it. But I like how this is going. I like how this is going. Okay. So let's keep going. Got both bots hanging out tonight. So it is what it is. All right, cool. So let's see. But yeah, like I was saying, API testing, so important. It's almost as like so database testing is important. Web testing, it is important because you need to have the front end working, but if your API is not if your API is not like your API, it handles the business logic. Your business is like it can make or break based on the API. So that's why like I have such a big emphasis on it. And connected to the API is the database. Regardless of because you can be using an SQL database, you can be using a NoSQL database based on the application that you're building. But all that is connected to the API. You can definitely test them separately, which you should. But at the end of the day, your business, your company relies on APIs. APIs that you connect to, such as connecting to, like let's say authentication through Google, like two-factor authentication through Google, through Facebook, through Apple, through Amazon, through GitHub, whoever provides it, like Twitter. Like you'll go to these websites and you want to sign up. You want to sign up, right? And it says, oh, you can either sign up like with a regular account or you can use any of these other options. It's up to you which one you're going to use. Those are APIs. When you see an ad pop up from wherever, whether it's a what do you call it? Let's say let's say you see a Google ad popping up somewhere on your phone, like you're using an app and you get these ads. Those apps are based on APIs that make a call to like Google to show. So everything that you're going to be using is based on API internally within a company. The way the data is going to be shown on the application, on the website, on the mobile device, whatever, it's through APIs. And that's why I stress how important it is to test APIs. And guess what? They are really, really quick to test. Like if you're doing, because there's many, like you can do 1,000 different scenarios. But if you automate them the right way, it will be really, really quick to test. All right. So that's what I want to share with you. But we're going to get back to it. We are going to get back to it. All right. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into this over here. And let me see. How do I switch again? We're going to go to, let's see. Like I'm afraid to press these buttons sometime, you know? Okay. So we're looking at this. We have the, so let's try to add a new thing. All right. So let's go here. And based on this, so if we do get just post before we try to add, let's do get just post. We should get, so what we have here. So, and this, so let me see. Can I zoom in on this? Let me see. Am I able to zoom in? Yeah. So a lot of times I've seen people say, oh, I want to do something in IT without learning code and stuff like that. And while that's possible, the thing is for instance, if you're testing APIs, what is this? Can anybody tell me what this square bracket represents? Anybody know what this square bracket represents? I'm going to go turn this off. Let me turn this off real quick. We'll see what happens with that. All right. So this square bracket represents a list. right? Well, this whole thing is the response body. So good guy says, yeah, so JSON body. So this is a JSON body, but of the response. However, what I'm talking in particular is what does the bracket, this square bracket, represent itself? And that square bracket represents a list, right? So, let's see, how can I do this? Let me see. Let's see what we do here. JSON editor, maybe? So we'll do it like this. All right. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, right? And with that being said, in coding, there's going to be different types of what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, but there's lists, there's strings, so a list, right, is what's going to be inside the square bracket. So we can have, for instance, we can have a list of strings. Hello, my name is Slim Shady. So this is a list of strings, right? Because they are inside the square brackets and they're separated by commas, right? And inside the list, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 strings, okay? Now, inside of these lists, we can have here, which this is going to be a JSON object. All right? Or it's going to be an object. It's going to be an object, okay? And here we would have a, let's say, name, and we have good guy. And then we'll say location, and we'll say, what location would we say for good guy? We'll go with Montana, right? And let's say occupation, and we'll say surfer, right? And now, there goes one object right here, one JavaScript object where it has the information about good guy. This object is within a list. I didn't even start the clock. Funny me. We'll start it now. Yeah, I need to get this all automated. Like, it's crazy. Let's see here. Okay. See, I can't live with that automation, right? I cannot live with the automation. Anyways, so now let's say we have another one here, and we're going to say, now we have another object, another dictionary, whatever you want to call it, right? There's so many different names they go by. But we're going to say, name again, and it's going to be Gregory. And location is going to be Compton, CA. And then occupation is going to be, I don't know, occupation. What occupation? Let's go with CTO. All right, there we go. Whatever. right? So now we have two. We have two of these objects, these dictionaries, inside of the list. Let's throw in an ID as well, because ID is important. One, or it's going to be one, comma. And let's go with an ID here. 2, comma. All right. So now we have 2 in here inside the list. Okay. So that's the difference. And you can have like you can have another list where you can have it with like a series of numbers. Whatever, right? But I wanted to point that out. So inside of our Postman, when you see this here, know that this is returning a list. And generally, when you make a GET request to the general endpoint, and it's going to return you all of the everything that is part of that request, like of that list, right? So all the posts would show up here. There's only one that's showing because there's only one in there. Okay, but now when we go into the one that we looked at before, we go to 1. It's going to only see, now we don't have a list because it's only getting that first one that we saw. So if we go here, see we have a list, and it has this object in here, and then when we go to 1, it doesn't have the list because it's getting us exactly what we were looking for. All right. So Gregory wants to be. So what we're gonna. So sounds good to me. Fireman. All right. I'm just gonna change it right here to fireman. Shout out to the firemen out there. Our local heroes. Okay. So now let's go back into Postman, and this is what we're gonna do. We are going to try to add a new one. And usually when you're doing the post, you're going to do it at like the main endpoint. We're going to do post, and we're going to say, I'm going to get rid of this ID here. Or no, actually, I'm going to have to copy this. And we're going to go to body. Get rid of this. And I'm going to get rid of ID because I don't think we need the ID on this one. And we're going to say title, and let's do this. We're going to say, actually, no. Let's just copy this. Let's see if this is going to work. Let's see if this is going to work. And I'm going to remove the ID. Let's see. Go like that. And let's see if this works. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? And we go and we send. And we have a 201 created. And with ID number 2. Occupation, surfer. And now, and this is the thing I was saying, right? Because there's no schema that's associated with this. So you can pretty much send whatever you want, and it's going to add it. So it'll give you some good experience using the different API endpoints and things like that locally, and you can start seeing like, okay, this shouldn't be this way because now let's add in Gregory as well, right? Let's add in Gregory as well. And if we send this one, boom, there we go, right? So now if we change this, or if we say we just go to another one here and we say get, and we say http:// localhost and now when we click send, we have in our response body, we have a list. Like I said earlier, we have a list. And so if you're liking the CTO, Gregory, what we're going to do, we're going to update it to make you the CTO of the Firemen's Association. Shout out to Gregory, the CTO of the Firemen's Association. All right. So here we are. So now, and we're just gaining experience with API without actually having to build an API. Because a lot of people ask, where can I find an API that I can like practice with? And using it on like Rapid API, it's a great way. But you might like, there's a limit to how much you can use Rapid API. You will want to also like running it locally, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff, get rid of the DB file, and then start all over again. And then something that I would look into, which they might have it on the documentation. We'll go back to the documentation and check. But I would say, how can I add a schema to this so that I have to follow a particular schema? Because I don't like that this one is title and author, and then this one is like totally different format. See what I mean? But we can easily tear this down, start it over again if we have to. Okay? So, with that being said, let's continue. Let me see something real quick. Not bad. All right, cool. Let's go here. All right, cool. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's do a get now. And this time, we're going to just do on number 3, right? Or on ID number 3, which belongs to Gregory. So, if I'm testing this, right? I want to see if I put ID number 3, I should get this request or this object, this response body, right? And I would start writing my test cases based on that. So I'd say, okay, should we? But I'll say when I send a get request to this, and there's even BDD library that you can do this with, right? Such as karate. I think we mentioned that in yesterday's video. But if I send this get request to the post endpoint with 3 at the end, I should get this in response. So let's try it out. Send. And look at that. Gregory, location Compton, California, occupation fireman, ID 3. See? There we go. How long did it take us to set this up? How long did it take us? Just a few minutes. 30 seconds? We were up and running. Not a big deal at all. All right. So now Gregory says he prefers to be the CTO. So we're going to say, let's say we take this right here and we do let's say we take this right here and we do request body or body raw JSON. And we don't need the ID, as the documentation said. And if we put CTO, and what happens if we send this? So the put, which typically would update it, did not update it. Let's see why. Oh, because I did a get. That's why. If I change this to put, and I go here, there we go. Look at that. C occupation CTO. All right. So there we have it. So now the last one I want to try is, what if, let's try a patch. I'm never too familiar with the patch. All right. Let's go here, patch. And let's go with this one. And let's go with raw. And what if we only send the location and let's say Gregory moved to bigger and better places, right? So what if he moved to Miami, Florida? And let's see if this is gonna work. Let's see what this does, right? So patch, boom, look at that. So on the patch, all we had to do was send one field and it kept all the other fields together and it updated the location. On the put though, I don't think we could do this on the put because if I go like this on the put, right? If I go like this on the put, what's gonna happen? See, on the put, it erases, it overrides everything, which is not what we want to happen. We don't want it to override everything. You got that? You got that? Yeah, you. Right? So we want to, so when it's a put, you have to send all the fields, right? Like this. And now we have this. So if we go here, we see here, good. If we go like here and we take everything out here, and what we always want to do, because even if it gives you the response here, right? Because I've seen this happen before. It'll give you the response like, oh, what it was supposed to do. But then when you go here, and then now you go here, it might not actually be accurately reflected, like between the get and the response that it gives. I've seen it happen before a long time ago. Is it likely to happen? No, but you have to check. You have to check the different methods. Okay. So let's go back and let's take this back over here. And here we are, right? So now we go back and this is still good. And in my mind, I'm already thinking, how can I automate this, right? Now let's go to the patch and we change the location. Okay, so now when we go back over here and we do this again, boom. So now the location is updated, the name stays the same. Now all the fields are there for ID number 3, okay? So that is the idea behind it. So we looked at the post, the get, the put, the patch, all those good things. Now let's go back to the documentation. And now singular routes, get, profile, post, put, patch. And then there's pagination, limits. So like we don't have that many. I mean, we can throw in a bunch of different posts in there. And then you can say, so this is like very robust, right? This is very robust. But I do want a schema though. Returns default index files or serves. Let's see what else is in here. Access from anywhere. You want to put it on a website. Generate random data. What I would want though is a schema though. You can add middleware using CLI. From the CLI using middleware options. Module export. Let's see. So you can definitely do a lot with this stuff. I would like probably could add the schema through maybe a middleware. Not entirely sure, but that would be helpful to like when it comes to validating things, you know. But no big deal at the end of the day. The most important part is being able to get started testing this stuff. Right? So let's keep going here to let me see. So so the start JSON server with routes and then routes.json. You can create custom routes. Pretty cool. Cool. All right. All right. So if we go back over here, and let's look for, oh, here's what we can do as well. Why don't we create a, I don't want to show this. Okay. So let's go to, let's check profile. Like I had in the documentation over here. Where was it? Here goes profile. Let's try that. Oh, wait. That's not what I was do. I want to do a get profile. But now we're going to find something in profile. And then the other one was what? Comments. Okay. So we can pass different data to it. Like I was saying, the schema, very, very important that we have that as well. And we see this is a list. If we go to 1, and I don't like the fact that you can pass anything through it, but it is a great start. It is a great start, so you can start getting a little bit more familiar with the different APIs. So what I want to talk about now, which we'll probably talk a little bit more about it when we come back from break, but how do you approach the testing? So there is the schema, of course. So if we look at, we're going to focus on the, we'll talk about both, right? So let's talk about SQL schema. And the testing for the most part, right? In a database, which we're focusing on database testing right now, but in the API, you're going to want to, like, the same testing that you do for the database schema, like sending particular type of characters, you're going to want to, you're going to also want to do that in the API. And what happens is when you send, like, let's say it's supposed to be a string that has no more than 50 characters, right? When you send 51 characters, you should get an error. So when you're doing that via the database testing, you're going to get a database error. But now when you're doing it through the API and you send something with 51 characters, you're also going to get an error, but you're not going to want to have that same complex technical error that the database gives you. You're going to want to have a user-friendly error with the error code and things like that. That's telling you, and it has an error message with what's happening. All right. So let's talk about what is a schema in SQL. So SQL, structured query language, is a programming language used as an goodness gracious. Used as an interface to manage databases. Various organizations and web developers use SQL systems to view and manipulate the information and data contained in their files, as well as to create and modify new tables. To truly comprehend SQL, it is essential to first understand what a database is. All right, we're not going to go all the way into a database, but what is it? Okay, so what is a schema in SQL? Because the schema in SQL is the same concept as a schema in NoSQL. However, the implementations are very, very different. Okay, so we'll read this and then we'll go to break. Right. So in a SQL database, a schema is a list of logical structures of the data. A database user owns the schema, which has the same name as the database manager. As of SQL Server 2005, what are we talking about with 2005? A schema is an individual entity container of objects distinct from the user who constructs the object. In other words, schemas are similar to separate namespaces or containers used to handle database files. Schemas may be assigned security permissions and making them an effective method for distinguishing and defending database objects based on user access privileges. It increases the database's stability for security related management. All right. So, the advantages of using a schema following are some of the main advantages of using a schema in SQL. A SQL schema can be easily transferred to another user. A schema may be shared between several users. It enables you to transfer database objects between schemas. When we gain greater power over the access and protection of database objects, a user can be removed without removing the database items that are connected with the user. All right. So pretty much that's what a schema is, and it pretty much like, to make it very simple, it defines what the data, like how the data should be going into the database, right? To make it simple. All right. So when we come back, we will jump more into like, we're going to talk about the no SQL schema and how that's handled. And then we're going to go to talking about how you would end up testing the schema from more of a API point of view. I'm not going to focus on database. This isn't about database testing. We're focused on API testing. Okay. So there we go. All right. Let's put up our 5 minutes up. If you haven't done so already, do me a big favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. And if you need additional coaching, additional help, additional content, tech content, whatever it is, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can sign up for a coaching plan with me, or you can get access to exclusive content. The next video that I plan on doing is how to efficiently use your calendar, your Google Calendar, so that you can maximize the 24 hours that you have. Every single hour matters. Every second matters. And that's why my time cost calculator, I calculate down to the value of a second for you. The value of a second. Every single second matters. All right? All right. So let's take a look at the chat. So we have here. So good guy was surfing. I like that. And that's when Gregory said he wanted to be a fireman, but then he also liked the CTO. So we upgraded him to CTO. And we have my guy in the building, Mr. Construction, Mr. Builder, Mr. Darcel in the building. Darcel says, good evening, fam. Good evening to you as well. How are you doing on this fine night? Always a pleasure to have you here. All right. So, with that being said, how are we feeling tonight? How are you feeling? What do you think, Gregory? What do you think, good guy? What do you guys think about this API, this stuff they call APIs? Darcel, as you progress into tech, you're going to have to get familiar with APIs. I think every single person in tech, you cannot escape it, is going to have some type of interaction with APIs. From a cybersecurity perspective, is the API secure? From a tech sales perspective, maybe you're selling APIs. Data, like from a data perspective, my guy Mitch here, APIs are so important. Like, APIs are all about data. QA, testing the APIs, cybersecurity. Super important for cybersecurity. You can't escape it. You cannot escape it. So, all right. So, Greg said, personally, it needs to be learned. Can't breeze over this. Nope. I mean, personally, professionally, whatever. Super important. Like when I was learning Python, I used Rapid API to display NBA data on a website. Got the logos to show up, the scores to show up, all that stuff. Think like you just have to make it interesting to you. Know what I mean? And Greg says, what's the best course to get to learn API testing? I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of picked up API testing. And when I picked up API testing, like I was able to pick up like using Postman pretty quick, and I went straight into like how to automate it with Java and rest assured. Probably some Udemy course that focuses on API testing. One that focuses on Postman, and then to get into automation, I would either go with one that focuses with Java. Well, depends on what language you want to go with. Like to me, Java might still be the most popular, but Python is the easiest to learn. If it's Java, you're going to be using rest assured. If it's Python, you'll probably be using like the request library. So there's different options. There's many different options. I wonder if the karate is only for if it's only for Java. Like I'm sure they should have something by now for Python, but whatever. But yeah, I would go with I mean I don't know. I would go with some Udemy course that would that teaches like, you know, Postman, but at the end of the day, all of the at the end of the day, the same concepts apply across the board. And what kind of course would you recommend there? I mean, I would recommend an API testing course, a RESTful API testing course. Simple as that. RESTful API testing. So you mentioned tech sales. How does API play with tech sales? So it can be different ways. You can be selling APIs. You could be interacting with APIs. Like the tools that you use can be pulling from different data sources. Like let's say the applications that you use that tells you like who to contact, who to call, the leads that come into the system. Let's say you're using Salesforce to generate leads and stuff like that. Like the system that if you're not using like www.salesforce.com, however that information is coming into, like whether it's through a mobile app, whether it's through another third party application, it's interacting with it through an API. The people like I've seen some APIs that they sell for $2,000 a month, like stock related APIs. So if there's someone selling it, they're going to need to be familiar with how the API works to be able to demo it and stuff like that. Like the people who are in the sale, like, you know, the sales engineers. I'm not too familiar with like the tech sales role in particular, but the sales engineers, whoever's in that pipeline, they need to be able to explain what they're selling, which in this case would be an API. The sales engineers might have to demo it, might have to set something up using APIs on, okay, so now when you send this request and you get this back and you interact with it this way, that way, whatever. Or your company might be selling an API and you're selling it to your clients who are going to be integrating with your API. So you see, like, so there's many different opportunities for it. Okay. So that's what I meant by that. That's what I meant. Okay. All right. Let's where we at? Let's do a last segment. Let's do a last segment, and we're going to talk about the testing approaches to the schemas, the database entries, the types. Let me see. What am I? How are we running here? Let's see. Not too bad. Looking at system resources here. All right. So let's go over back to. I'm gonna make a change. Actually, I am gonna make a change. How do I want to do this change? So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna go to here, and I'm gonna change. Oops. I'm gonna do here, here. There we go. I likes that. See, we figure it out on the fly. We figure it out on the fly. I want to be right there. And we're gonna move this up just a little bit. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. All right, let's start up our last 20-minute segment for the night, because I'm trying to figure out the software. It is doing it on the fly is not the easiest thing to do. All right, so makes you a little bit more tired. But let's talk about the testing. Okay, let's move this over here. Okay, cool. So we talked about the SQL schema, right? Pretty much the structure. It would be built into the database. When it comes to SQL, usually it's built into the database. Okay. Why are we cutting stuff off? Is it because I don't know why we're doing that? Hold on. Weird. I don't know why we're cutting stuff off. Let me see. That's weird. Anyways, whatever. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna go over to let's look up no. And let's do so. And did I do this on I don't remember if I did this on on a Sunday. But let's look at this, right? MongoDB is a NoSQL database, and how to design schema for NoSQL data models, all right? So NoSQL databases are designed to break away from the rows and columns of the relational database model. It is a common mistake to think that NoSQL databases don't have any sort of data model. A useful schema or a useful description of how the data will be organized is the beginning of a schema, right? So it's not that they don't have a data model. It's just in MongoDB, for instance, like it's not something that the database enforces, but you do want to have a structure that you're going to follow. Okay. Relational databases have had generations of users and developers to work out standard design methods. Various formal tools exist for describing the relationships between the main object in a business domain, and these formal descriptions can then be used to dictate how the data will be stored. The same type of standard data modeling tools are not available for NoSQL data modeling. One recommendation is to begin with a business domain model expressed in a form that can be incorporated in an application, such as a JSON document. Another important design driver is the type of data access that needs to be supported. Some some use case some use cases require access via a query language, and others require access by one or more application. Because no business or application domain is static, changes over time must be taken into account. When it comes to flexibility, no SQL database schemas are much less costly to revise, right? So yeah, it can be quite tough when making changes to a no SQL schema, or to a not to a to making changes to a SQL schema. No SQL is very flexible. However, with that flexibility comes the risk of having a very, very messy database and data structure. So, with that being said, we have to take that into consideration. All right. So something that NoSQL databases offer, like, or and I'm gonna go specifically with Mongo, right? Because that's probably the most popular NoSQL database. I mean, there's other, like, there's things that are it doesn't matter, right? But the thing with because the schema is not stored within the database when using Mongo. All right, it is it's going to be stored. So because of that, you would have to build the schema inside of the code base, right? When I'm building the application, I had to use Mongoose to say, okay, this is the schema that we're going to be using. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but let's see if they don't refer to it. So we're going to look at Mongoose or Mongoose. Mongoose, MongoDB schema. Let's see, this one maybe. Getting started with this one. And I think this part, like, I probably like use this guide as part of help. But so now here is defining a schema, saying the schema is going to contain a title, which is a string, a slug, which is a string, published, which is going to be a boolean of true or false, author string, content string, tags is a list of string. You remember the list we were talking about? The date that it was created, and that's just going to be the current date. The date that it was updated is going to be the date at the time that it's updated. And then we have the comments, which is going to be another list of an object of a dictionary. All right. And then within each of these schemas, you can define each field and its data type. So you can say this is required, this is going to be a number, a date, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I mean, I'll drop this link in the chat. We're not gonna go through this whole thing because this is not about the MongoDB schema validation or schema structure, how to do that, but it is important to understand the schema. It is important to understand the schema because when it comes to testing, you're going to need to know what you have to test. So let's say we have this schema right here. And it doesn't say, like, so right now this schema has, I don't like this because it's too plain, right? Let me see if there's any other examples. Nah. All right, so let me see if I can find some Mongoose schema example. Let's see what this has here. Nah. Let's see this one. Let's see. Okay, so for instance, now this schema says there's a name field, which is supposed to be a string, and it's required to be true. Power type, string, required, true, meaning yes, this is required. And then we have this mana power, which is a number, health, which is a number, gold, which is a number, and none of these are required. So when it comes to me testing this, right, which maybe next week, maybe, I don't know, because I wanted to go into automation next week, but maybe next week we can see if we can add potentially add a schema to this JSON server so we can have something to validate against. I don't know. I'm going to look into it this week to see if it's possible, if I have time, and we'll go from there. But what we have going on here is saying, all right, so now when we come to testing this, right, we're going to want to say, what happened? So I'm going to send a request saying the name, the power type, and all of these, right? Now, what happens if I send the same request? So let's write it out. Let's write this out, okay? Where can I write this? Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this over here. That way you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's put this here. And let's go here. And let's go here. Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Okay. So what I want to do, let's get rid of this. So if I'm testing this API, right? And it says that the name is a string and it's required. The power type is a string and it's also required. And let me move this out the way. And the mana, power, health, gold are not required, right? So let's start to. That's annoying. See if I can find a better JSON. All right, let's use this one. So now when I'm going to send my request, I'm going to say in quotations name, colon. And so my first one is going to be like this, right? It's going to say name, colon, and we'll go with Darcel in the building. And we're going to say, comma, and we're going to say power type. And we're going to say, I don't know, power type, battery? I don't know, whatever. And then we also have the mana power, and the number is, let's go with 100, right? And then we have here health, and we have $87. In gold, we have 52. All right, whatever. Just throwing out some numbers out there. So all these are numbers. Now, so that's one request that I would send to the API. And then let me see if I have a online code notepad. So this is all right. So okay, so let's say we have let's write this out, right? So we have a positive test, and I'm gonna say I'm sending all the fields to the API endpoint. All right, and I'm gonna copy this right here. That way you can see it. And now I want to do another positive, right? And I say I want to send only the required fields, right? And this is like, I would probably write the test case in a test case management system, which if you follow the how to build a QA portfolio video that I did, you can set this up in Kiwi test case management system, right? Or I would set it up in a Google Sheets, right? But for this purpose, we're just doing this like this, right? So we're going to say, now we send this, and let's say we say expectation, let's say 201, whatever the right? Now, the next test I want to do is, and there can be so many different variations of this, right? Because you can even say these are not required, right? But if I did send this one, then these two should be required as well. So there's so many different ways you can set these tests up, right? But we're just gonna go very, very general for now, right? Now, let's say let's do a negative test. And I don't send the name field, expectation, most likely a 400 bad request, and then we should have an error message. And guess what? When I'm the QA engineer on the actual build or implementation of an API, I will say, like, I'll question the so let's go expectation. Let's go with status code, right? And I'll question saying, hey, like, this error message doesn't make much sense. And that's how you add more and more value into what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like you're making suggestions, you're thinking about it comprehensively from a user perspective, things like that. All right. So we're gonna say error message, the name field is required. And I didn't send so the request would be, let's say we were to take, so we took this and we go here and we take out the name, right? Now the same thing, I can just copy the same thing. I don't send the power type field. So let's say we were to take this. Oops. Take the power out. Take this out. Cool. So now we should also get an error saying that the power type field is required. You see what I mean? And here we already have 1, 2, 3, 4 tests. Now another test, because you're gonna have like a few positive tests, and then you're gonna have a bunch of negative tests. And the negative scenarios is where it's at because you want to make sure that data that shouldn't be getting into the system does not get into the system. See, the positive test, there's not that many of them because like there is a certain type of way that data can get into the system, many variations of how they can send it, but the schema defines what will get them in there. Now, the negative test, so much like what if somebody just sends like special characters? What if someone tries to send some HTML code? Like and that's where security gets involved. That's where all these different ideas and concepts get involved, right? So that's the mentality behind it. Okay? So what if I send now? I send this is so let's say we do another negative test, right? Like and you see like they can start to add up. And that is why automation is essential, crucial, required for API testing because I want you to get every single instance and variation. See what I mean? So let's say we paste this, another negative test, and we're saying I send the required fields, but as booleans, right? And I say here, I capture this, and I say this is going to be true, and this is going to be false. And so it's still a 400 bad request, right? And the power, so this one is going to be the power type. So this could be 2 error messages, right? The name field is expected to be a string, and the power is also expected to be a string. All right. So there you have it, right? So many different variations of negative tests because you don't want these things to get in. This should not get in. If they send this as an integer, you might not want that to get in, right? So those are things to consider. Those are the things to consider, all right? So let's go to full screen. And there we have it. There we have it. Let me know what you thought. Did you find this helpful? Did you find this informative? You know, the schema validation part is super, super important to API testing because you don't want your data to run wild. You don't want your data to run wild. Can't do it. You can't do it. All right. So let's see. So we spoke about the schemas. Next week we can talk about the testing the database entries. Because what that pretty much means is after you submit you send the request, you send the post request, you have to make sure that it's making it into the database. You have to make sure that the information that's in the database accurately reflects the data that's being presented to you on the API and vice versa. Okay, so we'll talk about that. API testing and database testing, though that is an integration test that is very close to each other, and you want to get it right because you get it wrong, it can be very, very catastrophic to your company, to your career, to your customers, to your clients, etc. Okay? So before we wrap it up, I'm going to read the comments. But before I read the comments, if you haven't done so yet, do me a big, big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. Get this timer off the screen. So let's read the comments really quickly before we head out. Oh, Mitch, you want to join the party, Mitch? Give me a second. You know, we'll do this for Mitch, right? We're gonna do this for Mitch. We are gonna go to Mitch, I got you, Mitch. Don't worry. We're gonna do Let's go here. We're going to do a post. And we're going to say Mitch. And we're going to say location. We're going to say location is what's look? I don't know where I'm gonna place Mitch. I'm gonna place Mitch in Los Angeles. I always get stuck. So I think is that how you spell Los Angeles? Let me see. I might be looking like boo boo the fool out here. Los Angeles. Oh, it's with the ES. Okay, I got you. Los Angeles. And Mitch wants to be the #1 top Heat fan of all time. There you go. Welcome to the building, Mitch. Oh, ooh, see, look, it didn't even work. It didn't even work. See, hating already. Why did you work? You should have worked. See, Mitch, it knew like what I was planning, and it stopped me dead in my tracks. Why did you not work? Post. Oh, post. That's why post. See, and there goes another test. Are you like sending it to the wrong endpoint, right? 404 not found, and you get this empty thing. We can get an error message on that, right? So boom, there we go. The top Miami Heat fan in the building. All right, cool. Just having some fun. Just having a little bit of fun. You just subscribe, Mitch. Don't unsubscribe, all right? Don't unsubscribe. All right, let's read we have something to celebrate in the chat. Oh my goodness, we have something to celebrate. All right, let's read the comments. Let's read the comments before we wrap it up for tonight. Let's see, what did I miss? We have, let me see. So we did that one already. Let's go to, so Mitch said, where is it? Then solutions architect will take over after it sells. Yes, solution architect would take over, but like I was saying, the whole sales cycle, it's going to be like the sales engineers who are doing demos and stuff like that. We have API knowledge probably best used in sales. Yeah, I would say mostly in the sales engineers role, because they'll be more interacting with it and explaining it. But I think like probably with the ones who are like, you still need to know something about what you're selling, especially if your company is selling the integration to the platform. Like even when you have a platform, a lot of people want to use what they've built and connect it to the tools and the data and stuff like that you're providing. So that's where the APIs come into, and because they'll ask you like, hey, we have this already. Do you guys have an API that we can use? And if you're like, oh, I would say the worst thing that, like, when I'm talking to somebody in sales and they're like, oh, I don't know, let me go and find out, and now like I have to wait a day or two to hear from you. And it's like, well, you should know what you're selling pretty well, like API is something basic. Like if I ask you like, oh, do you guys have an API I can integrate with? You should be able to answer that. Oh yeah, we have an API. We can do this, and that. And then if I ask you like, oh, how about this? Then you might not be sure, but you better be able to answer like off the rip. Yes, we have an API, and these are the things that most of our customers use it for: A, B, C, D, and F. And then they say, oh, but what about this? Like, oh yeah, we could do that as well. Like, and how about that? Because like we do this in a custom way. Oh, that one, I'm not too sure. Let me find out for you, right? That's when I want you to be able to find out. But from the beginning, you better be able to answer my questions, or I'm like, let's keep moving, all right? And we have, it says, Darcel, I personally think it's more of a solutions architect. They usually more technical, but that would be after whoever sells the API, etc. Yes. So and like I was saying, right? It's you're gonna use it lighter, like to demo and stuff like that. But the solutions architect is gonna be helping doing the integration. And it says, Gregory says, what's that in your background of the computer? Are you using Notion? This right here? Or, I guess you can't see it. But which background are you talking about? Are you talking about like where it has that percentage? If it's like that percentage of the day with the quote and stuff like that, it is a plugin called, what is this plugin called? It's like Momentum or something like that. I don't even know. Let's see. I don't remember what this plugin is called. I've had it for like years. It's called Momentum. Momentum plugin where you can customize it and stuff like that. And it tells you like you can say what's like what time your day starts, and it tells you what percentage you are throughout your day. All right. And let's keep going. Got that. And Mitch said he wanted to be in the building, and I put him in the building. And now it is time to celebrate. So, Darcel, what is this interview for that you have tomorrow? What is this interview that you have tomorrow, right? So, Darcel has an interview tomorrow. He will let us know how it goes. Let's keep Darcel in our best wishes. We know you got this. You have been putting in the work, but we got your back, all right? We got your back. So, for Darcel, let's go out there and get it, all right? Let's go out there and get it. Love it. I love to hear about interviews, and everything you do is something to learn from. So let's go out there, do your best. Make sure you're confident, you're comfortable. You already know the material. Now you have to express it, you have to articulate it, you have to make it sound engaging. Don't sound like a robot. I was helping my sister-in-law the other day get ready for an interview, and I was like, you know your stuff, but you can't sound like a robot, right? Be dynamic, be engaging. If they ask you, why do you want to work here? Don't say it's because I need a job. Study up on the company that you're going to be interviewing for. Sell yourself. All right, Darcel? You got this one in the bag. Let's go out there and get it, all right? Let's go out there and get it. You got this, Darcel. You got it. And Mitch says, Superman is still alive. Yes. Mitch is Superman. All right. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know how the stream went. Hopefully you guys had an amazing time hanging out with me, looking into API testing. We do what we can. And I really appreciate it. Like I had a good time. New camera, new software, all this good stuff. And I'm gonna go watch it back to see how it was. Hopefully it was good. But with that being said, you guys know what time it is. I have a question for you after answering all your questions. The question is,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
we are so much more than entertained. We are well informed. We are educated. We are strong. We are motivated. We are confident. We are all of the above. All right, all of the above. We do not miss. Oh my god, you're too funny. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. And the last question of the night, or it's not even a question. You know what time it is. You know what Mitch already told you what time it is. The brick is going up. So yesterday's price is definitely not today's price. Today's price is definitely not tomorrow's price, because
one more thing. Price of the brick going up.
The price of the brick is going up, and there's nothing you can do about it. All right. With that being said, we are headed out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. On your way out, if you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live and drop new content. If you need one-on-one personalized coaching so that you can level up and you can start using all these technologies that you've been hearing about so that you can make it to the next level, then go over to www.techcoachralph.dev and sign up for a coaching plan today. Spots are very limited. So if you miss out, you miss out. But on that note, this is Tech Coach Ralph. We are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts. Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.